it was interesting. It popped in. I don't have Bible verses come in very often at all. So it was interesting.
Yeah.
But it's a good one. It's you've got to learn how to do this. That's why we're here. And so if you want to help somebody, that's how you help them, is help them to discover their own answers.
Right. And that's, then we segue into QHHT, and that's what QHHT does so magically.
It does, because
you already
somebody,
have that.
Yeah, you want that. That's empowering. When you know that you can go inside, you can go inward for your answers. You have all the answers.
Yeah.
You do. But as long as you keep trying to go to somebody outside to fix it, to give you the answers, whatever, you will never go inside. And they have been yelling this for years. It's time to be your own guru. Be your own channel. Just do it. Go inside and get your answers. So where you might need guidance and teaching is in how to do that.
Sure.
Yeah. And then what you do, you can always go to yourself for your own answers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
so how does it work in a session? Like how are we teaching? How are they being taught in a QHHT session?
Well, when they go into that SC, they are channeling in their higher self. Mm-hmm. They already know how to make that connection. What I love, because some people have on their questions, can I be a channel? And I just giggle when I see that question, because that's exactly what you're doing when you bring the answer in.
Yeah.
And so when I get to that question, can so-and-so be a channel? And that, well, with some work, they could do it. I'm like, so with some work, they could be a channel. Yeah. So what are they doing right now? And this is a channel. Mm-hmm. And then there's just this moment where that connection is made with the conscious and subconscious mind that, oh, I do this all the time.
Absolutely.
And so they make that connection and it comes in, because I'm just like, that's exactly what you're doing already. And you do it every day when you're talking to that beautiful little voice in your head, and it's giving you the guidance. And it's today, my beautiful client was calling, he had this voice in his head that kept saying trust. So we just started calling him the trust guy, which was his higher self.
I love it.
And it was just so fun to watch that connection be made, that trust guy was his higher self. Yeah. And so it was really cool. But definitely.
And it is, and that's what's happening now. You make your first, if you can, there are other ways you can do this, but a QHHT session is super easy to make the connection.
Yeah.
And when you do, like you said, then you know what it feels like, you know what it looks like, you know what it tastes like, whatever, you know the feeling of it, so you can make contact at any time later. I mean, you always had the ability, you didn't know what it was like. It's kind of like any of you energy workers out there. I don't know how it was, like when you first learned, Tracy, was it real easy? Like, did you know energy immediately?
No.
Right. When my hands were activated, and they're like, do you feel that? Or they had me, and they were doing the little things. It's like, okay, do you feel that? And I'm like, no. And then they kept doing it. All of a sudden, I found it was the most subtle little thing that I could feel. I'm like, oh my gosh, well, I feel that. I've felt that before. And they're like, yeah, yes, of course you have, because this is natural. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know what it was though. And it's the same thing. We do this all the time. We just don't know how to classify it. We don't know how to label it, and when it gets labeled, then it's like, oh, okay, well, now I know how to do that. I know what it feels like. I know what it is. And then it's very strong. It gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And as you are working this muscle called this connection, you're acknowledging it at first, you're recognizing it. And then so now it allows it to come in a little bit more. And as you keep just acknowledging it and working with it like a muscle, it gets stronger and stronger, and more of it's coming in. So see, what's happening there is now you are just channeling in more of your higher self. Yeah. It's really very simple. And anything to try and make it complicated is not true. It's not real.
Right. It is easy. And yeah, we do try to make it hard. And I want to finish that thought, but don't let me miss this, because we have someone brand new to QHHT in the audience.
Oh, wonderful.
And we're going to talk about that in just a second. I just want her to know, hang in there. We're going to talk about what is QHHT. But yes, I want to go back to, why do we make it so difficult? It's like we have some program, some training that says it's got to be hard. Like moving on from the bad habit or doing this or doing, changing a thought, changing all this stuff. And it's like, it's some program that says it's got to be hard where we're,
Yeah, I was trying to think, there's some saying out there, well, like no pain, no gain, those kind of things. And anything worth doing, well, that's worth doing right. But it seems like there's something along that line where it's like, it's going to be hard, things are hard. And no, this is natural.
Yeah.
It's natural. It's just a matter of acknowledging it and focusing on it and doing it. You've got to do the work, but it's not hard work.
No. And I remember going through that shift for myself where I was the client and I was talking about something that I was going through, and they said, well, why don't you just change your mind? Like, and I'm trying to make it hard.
I know, don't you love it?
I'm going to have to climb the mountain both ways in the snow. And they're like, oh, why? Why do you want to do that? And it's like, well, and I ran out of arguments, and I was just like, and I'm like, it can't be that easy. And they're like, but what if it was?
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought, I can't change my mind about this. And then I quit giving it energy, and it quit having power, and it changed.